This podcast includes a 12-minute segment that was put on WGN Channel 9 television in regards to Tom Skilling a few days ago. This podcast will provide a different perspective on the March 3rd snowstorm here in Chicago. The following is a 21-second recording of the very first time that meteorologist Tom Skilling was on television here in Chicago. This recording is from 1978.
Tom Skilling joins WGN, becomes a member of the News 9 team. And Tom, I hope you're as happy about it as we are.
Jack, it's indeed a pleasure to work with such a group of professionals here at WGN and in one of the most exciting weather markets probably in the whole United States. We've had our share of unusual weather, not only here in the United States.
From the 9 o'clock news.
We'll see you tonight on the 9 o'clock news.
The following speaks about how Tom is well-liked, his personality, at singing at baseball games, bobsledding, and all the different activities that he loves to do, and the multicultural things that he loves to participate in. It's about 1 minute long and includes a 9-second segment of storm chasing.
There are never any hurricanes in Chicago. Cookie.
Three strikes, you're out at
To the 7th inning stretch.
Hi, home.
All right, very
It helps if he knows your voice. Yeah.
And from dog sledding
We're in the heart of tornado season right now.
to storm chasing.
Oh my God, there it is. Wow. We're being chased by a multiple vortex tornado.
It's 10 below, which is
Tom Skilling has seemingly seen it all.
at ground zero for today's solar eclipse.
He is a cultural touchstone,
Here on top of the Sears Tower, the days are actually a little bit longer.
a Chicago treasure,
We've got a meteorologist in training. You are, boy, you are something else. Tom freaking Skilling. I could have you killed if I wanted to.
and the nation's foremost forecaster.
Nothing to cut the wind. It can roar.
But how is he so good at what he does?
Did I call it or what? Look at those riptides. Gorgeous.
Skilling!
Sorry. Here you go.
Pretty good amounts of snow down.
The following is the main part of this podcast as we discuss the March 3rd snowstorm. This is a 10-minute segment that's been taken from the WGN TV video that they showed. And as you include the little background comments that I make, it's going to end up being probably closer to 12 minutes.
We observed the master meteorologist at work
Start about 8 in the morning.
over 3 days as he tracked a storm headed for Chicago.
We are now going to discuss March 1st, Wednesday, in the weather office. This is 2 days before the forecasted storm.
We've got an inversion layer right now, and what happens is you get this shallow little layer of cool air over the lake, and when it moves inland, it cuts down on the mixing of the atmosphere. And so
It's a 40-degree day in Chicago, and Lake Michigan is stirring ahead of a predicted snowstorm. But in a north side high-rise, one man casts a long shadow
you know, looking out here,
over the city's weather forecast,
it's like different every day, the phase of the lake, and
and he isn't so sure we'll see snow.
it's a fascinating place to watch the waves.
Tom Skilling's home office is a fascinating place to watch the weather,
But I start about 8 in the morning.
but it's even more fascinating to watch the weatherman.
This is where I spend probably about 8-10 hours a day in front of computers and all. These weather forecasts don't drop out of the sky. You know, they take a little bit of preparation. Here's the weather system that'll be ours on Friday. Here's another GOES 18 as the western satellite. So we can put this up, but there's our storm right there. This is literally within the last 20 minutes. We can then switch over to the Japanese satellite and look all the way over to Asia. Look at this.
He's running complex atmospheric science experiments.
You take the temperature of the cloud, you can figure out what altitude it's at, and you use that as a proxy for the wind there.
He's also extracting data from more than 20 Weather Service models from around the globe.
It's going to move across the Rockies. It'll move out into the plains. There'll be a tornado outbreak down in the southern plains, and then it heads up towards Chicago. Now, this particular depiction shows quite a snowstorm laying out for us.
The models, though, show a concerning disparity.
They range from 0 to as much as 14 inches.
Using his own color-coded system, he's charting the numbers.
Each line here is a different computer model solution on what the temperatures may be in Chicago. Chances for measurable precipitation go up to 86% a couple days from now.
In meteorology, the method is known as ensembling, a melding of instruments like a musical symphony. Skilling is the conductor, but his baton is a calculator.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35.
He works the buttons without blinking. And by 3:30 in the afternoon, he's worked almost a full day before he leaves for the office.
I generally am done with my research work at home by about 3 to 3:30, and I then get in the car and drive across town to the station. I like to be in there by 4 o'clock. Basically, when I get in, it's a matter of preparing the graphics that I show on television. I'm waiting for the era where they perfect transporter technology like we see on Star Trek. And therefore, I'll just get in my little unit at home and transport myself to the station and avoid all this traffic.
We now go to Thursday, March 2nd, one day before the storm.
The next day, as Tom is driving to WGN,
prepping some graphics for our newscast tonight. There's a certain basket of graphics that we use on a regular basis.
longtime producer Bill Snyder, the Scottie Pippen to Skilling's Michael Jordan, is in the Weather Center on the phone discussing the storm with the news team.
You know, some parts of our area have no impacts at all, you know.
Right.
It makes it a very tricky forecast.
But the two have been working out tricky forecasts for decades, since the days before the internet. When weather models would be printed on hundreds of sheets of paper from a die fax machine and then analyzed by hand. Soon, Skilling arrives. A makeup artist is ready and waiting to color Skilling's forehead. He, of course, has spent hours on a color-coded forecast.
This is where all the early work comes home to roost. I am re-navigating the radar, telling the computer what I want it to zoom in on, and by re-navigating it, I mean I'm centering on the area of attention. Boom, I've got the satellite in there.
There's an old saying in Chicago, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. Weather always changes.
From the time you walk in here, it's one deadline after another one. I'll tell you,
the deadline never does.
That's the nature of the business.
With the storm bearing down, Skilling is scheduled to lead the newscast. It's 15 minutes to his first deadline.
Every second counts, and we've got to hit at the top of the show because of the storm we've got coming in. How much time do we have here, Bill?
We are about 8 minutes or so, 8-9 minutes away.
Okay. Do we have GFS Ensemble? Let's try that one. That looks a little better. And let's try the numbers. Come on, let's go. Let's go. How much time, Bill?
We're getting close here, about 4 minutes.
Oh, boy.
The clock is moving fast. The computer is moving slow.
This doesn't look right. What is wrong with this? Let's go. What is the traffic flow here, Bill?
Headlines off the top and then straight to you.
Yike, yike. Why is this not doing this right?
It's 4:56, closing in on showtime.
About 2 minutes or less.
Let's go. Let's go. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
With seconds to spare, the final graphics are ready.
And I need the right clicker. Let's see, this is the one.
And Skilling is ready too.
Bill, how's that look? I didn't even look at this thing. As the storm, you see, revs up and moves up in our direction. Here's what it looks like on the satellite tonight. It's ingesting warm, humid air off the Gulf.
We're now at Friday, March 3rd, the day of the storm.
By Friday, the snowstorm looks like it will just miss Chicago.
Truck 59 is back in our cell district.
In the WGN newsroom, executive producer Sam Julian is planning the evening newscasts after talking with Skilling.
We'll plan on leading with weather in all 3 hours. It doesn't sound like we're going to need extra hits, though, at the halves. Since the storm system is kind of further away than what we originally thought, I think we should go to northwest Indiana.
Field crews are being sent to the area likely to be impacted.
Change of story. Andrea Medina will now meet you out front. You will be heading to the south suburbs with the winter storm that will be approaching.
In the Weather Center,
what's important to people today, and how do I want to communicate that?
Skilling is putting the finishing touches on the 5 o'clock forecast.
You know, as I sit and look at all these maps and all these numbers and all, the thing that always runs through my mind is, this is all set, Bill?
Pictures?
If there's a big weather change that I know is going to slap people in the face, all right. I want to try and give them a heads up that this is going to happen. Earpiece on. There we go, Kevin. All right.
Then it's off to the studio.
Ooh, doggy. Wait till you see some of the pictures. These are just some preliminary shots that have come in. This is from Isum over in Lowell, Indiana, near whiteout conditions there.
Where he'll seamlessly step from the anchor desk.
Wet snow flakes tend to stick together, and so you can get those big half-dome
to the green screen
snowflakes and add a 40 to 50 mile an hour wind with it. Paducah had 56 mile an hour winds, and look at the rains downstate. The jet stream's strongest winds shoot into a system right there, and they spin the thunderstorms. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, chilly, low down to 29.
At 5:21, he's done, at least until the next deadline.
Bill, we did it. I'll tell you, thank you, sir. A lot of balls in the air on a night like this, I'll tell you that. You feel like a juggler. You've got data coming in, you've got half your viewing area getting one kind of weather and the other half getting an entirely different weather.
For nearly 45 of WGN's 75 years, Tom Skilling has been the man watching the weather. He's achieved a status few in Chicago TV ever have. He is both beloved and believed.
I think the weather person occupies a very special place in the broadcast schedule because we are talking about a subject that universally affects everybody.
Weather is the one subject that affects every person across races or religions, genders or jobs. We connect to him.
Well, I expected a little bit more snow, but today was perfect. It wasn't too bad.
Because weather connects us all.
How many conversations start with, a throwaway phrase on the weather? Boy, it was warm today. And then that starts the communication going between people. What did Mark Twain said? He said, everybody talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it. Something to that effect.
Wow. Oh, we love him so much.
And a lot of people marvel, like, wow, a 7-minute forecast that he will do on a daily basis. Now you think, wow, wonder how he gets it all in there. We should give him 15 minutes.
He's been working since like 5 a.m., right?
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah.
All right.
I think this segment that WGN TV did on meteorologist Tom Skilling is absolutely excellent. What's extraordinary is the storm that they chose to focus on is not a storm that made anyone look like Superman, but it's a storm that focused on the hard work that human beings do. And Tom Skilling in particular. Also, even when a forecast is not perceived by the public as being 100% accurate, there still is a lot of productivity that comes out of it, such as the snowplows were still able to get to the appropriate streets and salt the appropriate areas, despite the inaccuracy in the numbers of the inches of snow that was to fall in the Chicago area. We congratulate all the meteorologists for all the hard work that they did, especially in regards to the March 3rd snowstorm, and especially Tom Skilling, as we just witnessed over here. He really has a double job, working hard as a meteorologist, and then double work for being a TV meteorologist. Thank you for listening. I wish everyone a great week. You've been listening to the podcast Weather with Enthusiasm. The following is in regards to a movie called Supercell, set to be released March 17th, 2023. people into the weather they're going to love this movie. All the stuff, you feel like you're actually there, just with the large hail and the tornado. They really did an excellent job. Big congratulations to them for all the hard work that they did. The following is a 1-minute trailer for this podcast. We have two things going on. We have evaporative cooling and we also have dynamic cooling, and the two are coming together to produce a major snowstorm in the deep south. The only time you could blame cold air on climate change is when it's a result of the stratosphere warming, which is what causes all the Arctic air to come down south. The way to get a 6-inch snowstorm here in the Midwest and in the southern plains has always been you need 3 ingredients. It's hard to believe the numbers that are being forecasted. Several additional feet of snow is expected by Monday morning. Yes! Okay, we have a special guest on our show. What is your name? 27.1 barometric pressure. Feet of snow are falling in Japan.
Oh my God.
That's a time of celebration. Just Google weather with enthusiasm and they're all going to come up.